feel like as I have been going along in my own personal development and transformation and improvement journey, the farther I've got along, the more I see that there is more work ahead of me, right? The more I can see certain beliefs I have that are limiting me or holding me back, or that I would even just like to be different. But at the same time, like having the recognition that I should change, and even like the acknowledgement and appreciation that I am working to change is different than actually making the change to the extent that I would like. And I feel like it's in like a number of different fields and topics and like application areas. What I talk a lot about is like my own social adventures and trying to be more social, trying to start conversations with more people, trying to have more deep and meaningful relationships, whether that be friendships, romantic relationships, business partnerships, like mentorships, other things as well. But like all of those things, right? And again, like from here to when I kind of started this almost 3 years ago, huge difference to the point where like many things I do are like I almost like it's almost like unrecognizable from a few years ago. Like just even in terms of like how I spend my time now, many fewer video games, like much less watching TV or streaming shows. Like the friends I hang out with are different now than a few years ago. Um, Reading more books, like stop smoking the weed. That was something I did multiple times a day, every day, a few years ago. Like now it's down to zero. Um, Listen to more podcasts, like spending more time out in social environments as opposed to being at home as often. Like that's a huge change. Um, so like these things that I'm doing now, I was not doing and were not even on my radar a few years ago. And to the extent that I am doing them and continue to do them, like I feel like it has set me on a different path in my life. And I have no idea where that path will lead, but I do feel like these are positive changes, and that right I'm like beginning to like I'm still in many ways in the beginning stages of seeing the fruits of these labors. Like, I've planted the seeds, started doing things differently, but I feel like the more I do things differently, the more I am getting like embedded in that new way of life. Like the more it's like seeping in to me internally in terms of like how I feel, how I carry myself. Like even like this in terms of like how I'm speaking on video. Like if you were to go back and look at like the first video I put online, like the way I'm speaking in this video and in like a number of the videos since then is very different than the way I spoke back then. Like you can probably even see it in my face. Like like if you have the attunement, I'm sure you will be able to see it in my face. Like, and it's not just on video, it's like in life overall, like period. So I know that I am on like a path that I feel like is enriching in a way that I was not on before. At the same time, I also still see that like certainly more work ahead of me. And like at the pace I have been going, like it will take more years, like potentially many more years. And even that, like, there is no guarantee that like I will ever get to some of the places where I want to go. Like again, just going back to like the social stuff, like I want to be able to just not have any internal friction when it comes to starting conversations with people. Like, and particularly I hone in on like people that I feel like send me signs that they would like for me to start a conversation with them. Right? It happens so often I'm out and people just gravitate towards me. Like I'm here, they were not there a few minutes ago, but then they come up and out of all the places they could be in this wide room in this huge venue, they come near me to where they can stand close to me and watch me more closely and like overhear the conversations I have with others and like I interpret that as like an invitation to like a warm invitation to start a conversation with them. Like, and I recognize that the place I was at a few years ago, I wouldn't like pretty much never have been the one to start the conversation. Like, never, ever, ever. Like, first, I would not even have like gone out to these social settings at all to even like be in these scenarios and situations. So like the fact that I am even like showing up is in and of itself a huge difference. Then the fact that I can go out and like have the energy, have the vibe, like be whatever enough to like attract people to me, again, like huge difference than where I was at a couple years ago. But also like, you know, when I'm getting the eye contact, when I'm getting the smiles, when I'm getting people watching me, like I also want to be able to see it, recognize that, hey, they're probably at the place I was not so long ago. I've gotten a little bit farther along, so like let me be the one to like get it going, start the conversation, and like start the conversation. You know, it doesn't even have to go well after that, but like I want to be like that is the part that like I want to do, and I kind of want to do it like for myself and also for others. Like for myself because like like I said, I don't want the internal friction when it comes to starting conversations, but I also want to like facilitate the conversations with people that are showing an interest in me. Like, hey, I recognize that where I was at, I would not have been the one to start the conversation. They may be in that same place. They are if they're hanging around and not starting a conversation. And so like because I'm like a little bit farther along or have made this more of a priority or have less internal friction, like let me be the one to do it. Like I sure. But and like very often do. Like really like just overall I don't see people doing it to the same extent that I am. Like really. In terms of like the combination of the amount that they're going out and the number of conversations they're starting and like number of conversations with different people, like I don't see someone doing it to the same extent that I am. Like I believe there are people that do it to a way greater extent. And I've even spent some time around these people, like gotten input and advice from them, and like it has been very helpful. But also, when I have been around them, I have not seen them do it to the same extent that I have seen myself do it at times. And that is the thing with even myself is like there are big ups and downs. And so like just for my own like improvement, like I want the like I know I am capable of higher levels because I have reached those higher levels before. And so like it's not like me saying like I want more and like trying to, you know, get to these next levels and like advance and change my mindset and like have that really like seep in and be internalized. Like I don't at all feel like discouraged by these things because like in some respects like I have gotten to those levels before and believe that I can certainly get there again. And I have had the like track record of progress to show me that like I am moving in that direction. And so, um, it's not like, oh man, I'll never get there, or like been putting in all this time and like still like those like thoughts and feelings do come up sometimes, but like what is like more prevalent is just the thought of like, okay, like I'm on the journey. And really when it comes to like the social stuff, like I want to be world class and like extraordinary. And I recognize that to develop an extraordinary skill set, I will have to do things and put in effort that is way beyond ordinary. Like, that is the definition of extraordinary. Like, extraordinary is that it's like way beyond ordinary. So, like, I like with that, I don't particularly feel like encouraged or like an ego boost from being like, well, nobody else I see is doing it like me. Like, it's kind of like, well, I'm not really comparing myself to others. I'm comparing myself to where I have been at certain times and to where I want to be in the future. And so, like, um, and like, even with the have been at certain times, it's often like, it's much more often like where I have been in terms of like the peaks I have achieved and like where I want to go in the future, which is even higher than the peaks I have achieved, versus like I'm here now and I used to be like way down here, or like other people are here. Like it's not even like comparing it that way. It's comparing it more to like where I can go, where I want to go, where I feel like I will be with more time, with more effort in the future. And so like what I keep coming back to is like patience and commitment. Like, hey, this is something I want. This is something I'm willing to work towards. And so, sure, it hasn't happened to the extent that I want. Keep putting in the time, keep putting in the effort, and like you'll get closer. And like that's certainly been the case. So like, um, so yeah, and like again, as I'm like going along, I like keep seeing that like, man, some of these thoughts, beliefs, patterns of behavior, like different things, like if I could like flip a switch and just change it, if I could like instantly say like, actually, it would be better if I started doing that instead of what I have been doing, and just make the change immediately, like flip the switch, then I would be so much farther along. My progress would be so much faster. My progress would be so much faster. Like, but it has not been that easy or that immediate of a change or of a, you know, switch being flipped. Like, that has not been the way for me. Like, and again, I've talked about this in others, but like, I could view it as like me moving farther along the spectrum, getting closer to where I want to be, like, but also view it as like, and like that helps, and you know, to conceptualize it that way of like, hey, well, you're getting closer, you're progressing, you're moving farther along, you're getting closer to where you want to be, and like there's this place where you were at before that is like farther from where you want to be, so that's good. But then even sometimes thinking of it as like, well, there's different aspects to it. There's socially, there's the being high vibe, having an energy that attracts other people towards me. Like, I have developed that and like gotten farther along that spectrum. There is the aspect of being able to project, like being able to speak loud enough to where people can hear me. That was an issue starting out, like not really an issue now, so like gotten much farther along that spectrum. There's the issue of like going out to these environments that I used to be uncomfortable at, or that I would just not go out to at all, or when I was there, I would be more anxious and nervous while being there. Gotten farther along that spectrum. There is the spectrum of like when I'm having the conversations, doing it in a way that is engaging to the other person. Gotten farther along that spectrum. Like there's a way of, providing opportunities for follow up when the conversation is going well, so that it's not just meet them, talk to them this night, but like potential to see them again in the future. Gotten better there. And like each of these things are like different aspects that are part of like the social umbrella, part of like the social skills overall. But each of them, as far as I've like moved along the spectrums and like gotten better, there's still room for improvement in each of those areas. And that's just what it is. Like again, it's not even like something that I necessarily like feel bad about, that like, man, all this time, all these years, these few years I've been working at it and still got more work to go. Like, damn, should be farther along. Like, it's more of just like, okay, like, it is what it is. My progress is where it's at. And sure, I would like it to be more. Sure, I would like it to be faster. Sure, I would like it to be like easier and more fun and just like instantaneous. But like, that hasn't been the case. And like, I really doubt it'll be the case going forward. Like, maybe it will be. And like, I'm not even saying like it's impossible, because I do feel like that is a possibility, and that like even if it's not just like instantaneous 0 to 100%, that maybe it is like, maybe someone even watching this video now is like, oh wow, I can even, in watching the video, can even hear how he's projecting his voice. Like, I need to be doing that when I am out having conversations with people, because it's not like he's yelling, but at the same time, he is projecting in a way where you're not going to have to say like, I can't really hear you. Can you speak up? Like, it's not a whisper. It's not quiet. It's not shy. It's like, it's actually projecting. And so the extent to which you can do that, particularly in a loud environment where they may be playing music or where there may be all these conversations happening around you, like, the other person can hear you, and that facilitates better, deeper, greater communication. So I am like proud of the progress that I've made. At the same time, I am recognizing like there is more room to go, more room to grow, and a longer distance to go to get to where I want to be, and recognizing like certain, like I said, beliefs and patterns of behavior and thoughts that come up that are inhibiting me from like being farther along. And even though I recognize like doing this or thinking this or acting in this way, and there is a better way, still having to like do it bit by bit to like adopt that new way of thinking, or get used to that new pattern of behavior, or get closer to that way of being that I would like to be in the future. And so, all those things, while still like all those things come up and are in my mind, while still also like trying to have a focus on enjoying it along the way, and like not getting like so deep into where I want to be in the future, like still doing all the work to get to where I want to be in the future, but when I'm in the moment, in the present, not having like those thoughts come up so much. Like, again, still doing the work, still being analytical, still being critical, still seeking the feedback, still learning, still reading the books, still listening to the podcast, still seeking out the coaches, like still listening to the advice, but like setting aside certain times for that. And then the times where that's not the case, being more present in the moment. and like could look back and think about like this or that from the past and blah blah blah, but like also recognize and appreciate how I have grown, learn the lessons from my past behaviors, right? See where the changes that I have made have led me to being on a different path, but also like take some time to do those things, but also like being present in the moment. So it's like all these different things. And like another way I think about it is like having the like courage of my convictions and also having the humility and courage to question my convictions, right? It is the like, hey, I am doing good things that are moving me closer to where I want to be. So like, although I am not there yet and still see the gap between where I am and where I want to go, have the courage of my convictions to keep on going along, to keep doing like these things that I believe and have seen and have shown themselves to be the right things to move me in that direction, while also having the courage to say, well, what if a tweak would be better here? Like, what if a tweak would get me closer to that direction more quickly, or with less effort, or with less time? You know, what if the advice from this person actually is something that I need to adopt more and that would help me change my patterns of behavior in a way that would get me to where I want to be in a more efficient, effective way? So it's not just like one or the other, just like keep doing what I'm doing. It's been shown to help me get from 0 to 50. Now that I still want to go from 50 to 100, like keep at it. But also like, yeah, this has been helpful. This has been good. So keep doing it. But also as I'm doing it, like still, you know, like I said, still be humble enough to be like, maybe there's a better way. And even when it comes to these videos, like, part of like my hesitation in making the videos, even to begin with, was feeling like I am not like the most expert at anything. Like I thought about talking more about data and data visualization and mathematics. Like those are things I studied and had done for my career. So that like that was what I'd spent my school and career doing. And so like that was the thing that I had like the most expertise in terms of like years spent doing that. However, there was also like the recognition that like, you know, the professors I learned from in school were often much older, maybe in their 50s, 60s, something like that. And so they had much longer careers. And so like, yeah, I could talk about what I did, but there's always someone that's been doing it for longer, right? So like, am I really the expert, or should I just leave it to these other people who are like more senior to be the experts, to be the one sharing their like advice and expertise? And like a couple of things kind of like contributed towards changing that. One was I don't even know if I like finished the book entirely yet. And maybe I'm even getting the book wrong, but I want to say it was like the Myth Revisited or something like that. But again, maybe that's even like the wrong book. But the idea that like I came across was that oftentimes, or that it presented like this idea that perhaps the best teacher to learn from is not someone whose expertise is like so far down the line, because it may be so far down the line that they have trouble relating to someone like brand new, because they have like internalized certain things, like mastered certain things, and even just maybe so removed from the experience of having gone through it themselves that like relating to like the newbie may be harder. That what may be more beneficial is someone who is like learning from someone who's like 10% farther along, because they have recently like gone through that 10% improvement. So like their, as they relate to their experiences, is much more recent, and like would be relating to them in a way that is closer to where the other person actually is. And so that like started me along this path of thinking like, okay, even if I'm not super far along myself, maybe that is actually like an advantage in some ways. Right? Like maybe there are people who are like just trying to make these same changes that I have like recently made, where I would actually be more beneficial in helping them than just these super experts. Right? And like it doesn't even have to be like one or the other. Like learn from the person just 10% ahead of you, or learn from the guru. Like it can be both. And like to that extent, like when it comes to social stuff, I am probably the person that is more of like the 10%. Like the gurus go to like Owen Cook or Jeff Allen, Jeffy. I think his channel is like Presence in the Void. Like those guys are like super gurus. Like they can help you. They have the boot camps. They have the stuff. They have the programs. Like you can pay and work with them. Like they also have the free videos as well, so you can like watch their videos, and like they're tremendously helpful. They've been doing this 10 times longer than I have. Like so like they have the expertise that I do not have, certainly. At the same time though, like to the point that I was like getting at, like I do feel like my perspective is valuable and is helpful. Probably not helpful to them. I feel like probably the stuff I talk about they've like mastered and like long since moved past. So like I don't know that I would be like a useful teacher when it comes to social stuff for them. But certainly for like me, where I was a few years ago, I think these videos would be helpful. Certainly. I certainly strongly believe that. And I even believe it will be helpful in a way that like provides a different perspective than the perspective in those gurus' videos themselves. Because it is like a little bit closer in. And so that like thinking in that way, thinking along those lines has been empowering for me. Right? The other thing is like, yeah, I may not be an expert in like these fields to the extent that I want to be, right? I may not have like the world-class skill set that I would like, but what I am an expert in is my own experiences, right? And so oftentimes when I am making these videos, I am talking about my experiences, stories from when I am out, stories from situations I have had, like interactions, and I will often present them in a way that is you this, you that, you know, you should do this, you should do that, you should, you know, take this feedback. But like thinking of it in that way of how can I share stories about my experiences, right? Like that also shifted my thinking from, okay, it doesn't need to be necessarily me presenting expert advice from 30 years of having done this, but it can be me sharing my experiences from yesterday when I was out. And so like these like changes again, I feel like are just opening up new opportunities to me, right? Like it's gotten me thinking more about what I would like from these videos that I'm making from my future, and the opportunities, because I am making videos, because I am being more open, because I am sharing myself more, because I am being more vulnerable, because I am presenting myself to a wider audience, right? Like these opportunities, this opens up opportunities that were not there before. And so even as these like new opportunities are opening up, as I'm getting farther along this path, I am thinking like, okay, how to best navigate the path now that I'm like on it. Should I be doing things to make and sell a product? Like that has been something in my mind. Like you're putting in this time to, making these videos and like editing and putting them online. Shouldn't, what are you getting out of it? It's not bad to ask for money if you feel like you have helped someone, right? Like, and if the other person feels like the stuff that I've been doing has been helpful, then like that is evidence of a value proposition. And so like, shouldn't you be capitalizing on that? And like, if I wasn't making the videos, just a thought experiment, like, but now that I'm doing it, okay, there's something there, right? And so like, that's in my mind. And even to that extent, seeking out different advice, listening to the Owen Cook talk about sales, listening to the Jeffy, and listening to Hormozy and reading his books, reading the Dan Kennedy and stuff like that. And so like, maybe if just I was at there thinking in the same way they are right now, the switch had been flipped, I would be doing it. I would be setting up the funnel. I would be, measuring this, measuring that. I would be doing the call to actions. I would have made the digital product, I would be looking to provide a high ticket item and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But not there yet. And sure, getting closer, but not there yet. And recognizing like the extent to which I can adopt some of those mindsets, ways of being, patterns of behavior, actions and activities, like that would move me farther along toward that end. But right now, where I'm at, like piece by piece. And that's just what it is. So like I said, courage in my convictions in terms of keep doing these things. Like these are positive changes. And I don't know where these positive changes will lead me, but I do feel confident that it is leading me in the direction to where I want to go in the future. Right? I feel like it is helping me develop and advance and get closer to where I want to be. Also, still like I said, reading the books, watching the videos, listening to the podcast, seeking the mentors, asking for feedback, like still doing those things. And with that, like, as I am doing those things, I am making progress, and like I am challenging these thoughts that I have held for such a long time, right? Like even now I'm reading this book called Sex After Dawn. And like, before I even get into the book, like this isn't even necessarily a recommendation. Like I have enjoyed it. I found it helpful. I'm about halfway through. So like, but like I've already heard some criticisms from other people, like that it's a feminist book, that it's a polygamy book, and like again, maybe those things will even come to light more in the second half of the book that I haven't gotten to yet. But really, like the value that I have gotten out of the book is that it has caused me to question certain things that I thought and felt were just human nature, right? And in questioning these things that I had believed much more were just human nature, my new belief that I'm adopting about some of these things is like, it's not necessarily human nature as much as it is indicative of the culture and society that I and we live in. And that if I or we were to live in a different society with different culture, then like some of these beliefs about what is human nature, just the way people are, would be different. And because of those different beliefs, then certain actions and ways of interacting would be different as well. And like I bring this up to like go back to the earlier point I was saying about adopting different beliefs that I feel like will help me advance, will help me get past some of these like roadblocks that I am running into now. And like I said, it's not just flip a switch, adopt a new belief. Everything I've thought before, like, oh, that was wrong, that was BS, like in the past. But it's like a much more gradual thing than that, and like that's like fine. It is what it is. Like, hey, if it's gradual, then it's gradual, and I'm just gonna have to piecemeal it. Like, I'm okay. Not seeing. Excuse me, not seeing the exact social results I want to. Well, just gonna have to keep getting out there. Like, all right, going to the gym, trying to get in better shape. Went today, went to the track today this morning. Did some jogging, did about 4 miles. Okay, not as fit as I want to be. Gonna have to do more exercise. Like, all right, like just what it is, And like in that context, like it would be like pretty ridiculous to think, oh, you went to the track once, and so now you think you're just an elite level fitness person, like that now my like running stamina and quickness and endurance is the same level as like the soccer players I watch on TV. Like, no, you're just delusional if you think that. Like, and so like I said, like patience and acceptance and the recognition that it is like a journey, and that some of these changes, even as I am doing the right thing and doing more of the right things and changing how I spend my time to get me farther along and get me closer to where I want to be and get me there more quickly, like meditating every day. That's another like big one that like I've been doing that for several months, and I like the more I've done that, the more I've like seen the benefits of it, and the more I'm like, this is something I really want to and like need to be doing as I continue into the future. But like even like there were times in the past where I had like tried meditating and done it for like a day or a few days or even a couple weeks and been like, man, this ain't working. This shit don't work. And feeling like it like hasn't or didn't or won't work, then like caused me to stop. Whereas now it's like, okay, my expectations around just how long it would take to see results, those were just incorrect expectations. And if I expected that it would take months and that I needed to do it for months, I would have done it for months and I would have seen the positive results that came from doing it for months, and I would have realized, oh, it actually does work. It wasn't just that it didn't work, it was just that I didn't do it for long enough to see that it worked. And so, learning along the way, growing along the way, and as much and as far as I've come along, still seeing like more to go, more to come. And like I said, that's not like a discouraging thing. Like, again, sometimes I do get discouraged, but like even that happens like much less frequently now than it did in the past. And the thing I like keep coming back to is just like, okay, not seeing the results I want yet, but probably just means it's going to take more time. That like my expectations around what it would take to see those results were incorrect. And like that is, I feel like, a huge thing. Like the other piece is like, am I still committed? Do I still want to get to the end goal? Like, yes. And so like, okay, we'll keep at it. But like that first part around like what I thought it would take was wrong. Like, and like being able to see that like proactively, to be able to say like these certain beliefs I have around how long it will take to develop these social skills, or how long it will take to quiet my internal thoughts, from the meditation, or how long it will take to get to like the agility and quickness and stamina I want from the exercising. Like, to be able to see and say right now that what I am thinking may be wrong, that is huge. That is absolutely huge. And I feel like that is something that I see in others that honestly I feel like others could use a bit more of. In the people that I see and observe and am close enough to see like in their daily lives, I feel like, and again, I do it myself, think like, okay, I know what it's going to take to see this result, but then I am trying to do it and see like I was wrong. What I am doing more is saying, I believe I know what it takes to see this result, but I may be wrong in that belief. Still going to go along the path towards seeing that result, doing the things that I have experienced and learned and heard will be most effective, but also could be wrong. So still going to seek like feedback, advice, input, insight. And like, I will like just highlight, I said like advice and insight and like expertise, not just like opinions. It's like everyone has an opinion, but not everyone has like expertise and insight and like valuable advice to share. I do feel like valuable advice can come from anyone, but like also want to point out, just because you're like listening to what other people say, that does not mean that like the stuff that they're saying is like actually so helpful, actually so useful, actually relevant to you and what you want. So like throwing in that little caveat. But like I feel like it is that like humility to say like, hey, I could be wrong. But also like the conviction to say like, I absolutely believe that things will move me in the right direction, so I'm gonna do it. And hey, it's not working, okay, may need to double down or triple down or do it for longer, or may take 10 times longer than what I thought. But like still committed to seeing the results, so still gonna keep at it and still have seen where this has been useful, and so still gonna keep doing it until I feel like I find something better. And like that's just kind of what it is. So again, like sure there are times where I am analytical and critical and feel like, man, should be doing this, should be making this change. If I could just adopt this, flip a switch and make the change, I would be so much farther along and get there so much more quickly. Doesn't happen like that. Or it hasn't happened like that for me. I'll say that. I won't even say it doesn't happen like that, because it's possible that some people can flip a switch and just like experience like a degree of change in an instant. And I don't want to discount that or like tell you that that cannot happen, because it has happened to other people, and it can take like one thing to change your perspective, right? I've brought up certain examples of like certain things that like hearing them made me start to think in a different way and like set me along a different path in doing so. So like there are certainly like degrees of change that can happen in an instant. Hopefully you get some of those in this video or like some of the other videos I've put out, like subscribe. But like like, so sure, there are times where I get discouraged or have gotten discouraged, but like, okay, Do I feel like what I'm doing is the right thing? Yes. Well, then keep going. It just meant that like my expectation around how long it would take is maybe wrong. Okay. Am I still committed? Do I still want the result? Yeah, well then still keep at it. Like, and of course, you're always gonna have to balance priorities and always work with like limited time. So like that is something I think about in the future of like, okay, I'm making these changes, like really auditing my time, really trying to do more of the right things and less of the things that may be holding me back, and making the changes. So like in the future though, there may be other priorities that come up that like cause me to have to rebalance and even like step away from some of these things that I am doing now that I feel like are moving me in the right direction. And so like every once in a while I'll think about that and like, get maybe even like a little down thinking like, man, I'm sometimes I get a little down, sometimes it's a little up. Sometimes like, man, I'm very lucky, very grateful, like super appreciative that I have had this time to dedicate towards these endeavors. Right? That I have had the time to be able to put in and work on these different skills that I want to develop and absolutely feel like will help me in the future, and absolutely have seen how they have made me what I feel like is like a better version of myself. Um, so like other times where it's like, man, may get to the future where I'm not able to do this and that's gonna suck. But like, whatever. Like if and when it happens, and like that's just life. Gonna have to make priorities, gonna have to like do the time, put in the time some way, somehow to get towards the ends I want to go. And like even that's another thing of like it may not be a thing of always just like putting in more time, more effort, etc. Maybe it's just a thing of it will take the same amount of time, but just me doing it for longer. Or even I could like decrease the amount of time, but just do it for longer and still see the certain results, or like very much the same results. Like, oftentimes I go out to like social settings and I'm doing that for like many hours at a time. Let's say like 5 hours at a time. But like maybe it's the case that in the future I have other priorities, and when I go out to a social event, it's for maybe 1 hour. But maybe like the 1 hour that I'm out could continuing to do that, and as opposed to the 5 hours, like maybe I won't see that much of a difference. Like maybe it's that even okay, knowing I'm only going to be out for an hour makes me like it lights a little bit of fire under my feet, and then I'm out like okay, starting the conversations even to a greater degree than with the 5 hours, because maybe it's just in the back of my mind, well, I'm going to be here anyways, I'm going to have more opportunities, and so don't need to do it as much now, or whatever. So like just appreciating the journey, right? Like that is maybe like the kind of underlying thing, is like appreciating the journey, and that appreciating the progress I have made, appreciating the fact that like there's still more to go. Like again, not being like discouraged by that, but like having an appreciation for it. Appreciating that like it has taken me being courageous and brave and stepping away from certain like widely held beliefs and patterns of behavior to make this progress. And at the same time appreciating that for all the things I've learned, for all as much as I've grown, for all like the advice and feedback that I've sought out and listened to, it may take me seeking out more of it and finding more of it and listening to more of it, and appreciating all these like new ways of thinking that have propelled me forward, that have set me on new paths, that have opened up so many opportunities, but also appreciating roadblocks toward beliefs that will set me even farther along, or open up more opportunities, or open up new pathways. And so just this like appreciation and like enjoying it all along the way. Like that is something that I feel like I, again, have cultivated to a greater degree than I used to, but at the same time see that like can be doing even more of. And so I feel like that is the essence of personal transformation, of development, when it's done in a like uplifting, encouraging, like wholesome, good way. And so that's just where I am. Like that's what's on my mind is just those things of improving, want to keep improving more, seeing how far I've come along, seeing that there's still a long way to go, doing the right things, doing things that have helped me, doing things that will help me as I continue to do them. Also, doing the work of seeing if there's better ways and trying to adopt those like better practices. And so yeah, like don't know where it all will lead me, but certainly believe that it is leading me to a better place. And I feel like the extent to which I can share that with others, that I am promoting a better world. Like I am trying to be the change I would like to see in the world. And so I hope this finds you well. I appreciate you listening. I love you. Take care.